Good morning, everyone. Happy Father's Day. Before we begin this morning's service, just a reminder, no food or drink in the temple. Please either turn off your cell phones or put them on silent. As you can see, I'm the only one here today. And I don't know how to do Sambujo, so we're not going to do Sambujo. So we're going to start just with sutra chanting Juseige, which is on page 23 in the small Dharma school service book, or page 93 in the large service book. The page numbers for the sutra book will be displayed on the front screen and your monitors at home, so please follow along. Please rise now for the singing of the Gatha. What Gatha do we, Michael? Namo Amida Butsu, which is on page 67 in the Small Dharma School Service Book. Please remain standing for the Three Treasures, which is on page 3 in the Small Dharma School Service Book. When life is fair and sunlight gilds the day, when fortune smiles and flowers adorn our way, oft let us pause with grateful hearts to say, Namu Amida Butsu. E'en though our way leads 'neath a darkened sky, and to our loved ones pain and death draw nigh, our tears may flow, yet trustingly we cry, Namu Amida Butsu. Okay, please join me now in the reading of the Three Treasures, page 3. Hard is to be born into human life. Now we are living it. Difficult is it to hear the teachings of the Blessed One. Now we hear it. If we do not deliver ourselves in the present life, no hope is that we shall be freed from suffering and sorrow in the ocean and birth and death. Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in Buddha. May we all together absorb into ourselves the principle of your way to enlightenment and awaken in ourselves our supreme will. I take refuge in Dharma. May we all together be submerged in the depth of the doctrine and gain wisdom as deep as the ocean. I take refuge in Sangha. May we all together become units in true accord in your life of harmony in a spirit of universal oneness, freed from the bondage of selfishness. Even through ages of myriads of kalpas, hard is it to hear such an excellent, profound, and wonderful doctrine. Now we are able to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of Tathagata's teachings. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Okay, please be seated. And now, please join me again in Kansho and reciting the Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Good morning. Thank you for joining us today in the Hondo, and for those of you watching at home. Happy Father's Day again to all of those in the audience and at home. Welcome to this first service in our summer schedule. Services will be at 10 a.m., one service at 10 a.m. until September, I think the second or third Sunday in September. I can't remember which one. But good to see all of you here. As you could tell, again, I'm the only one here. So we're going to start the service. We'll start with a slide. Connections in history. So we're going to talk about that and share a few things. And I'd like to share a photo with you. So with the help of Brandon, we're going to show that first photo. Who is this man? Anybody know who this man is? No? Okay, I didn't think so, because I didn't know who this man was until not too long ago. Next slide, please. Nisaburo Hirano. Does anybody know who Nisaburo Hirano is? Anybody? Okay. Allow me to explain. I mentioned actually Nisaburo Hirano in a Dharma talk earlier this year. Next slide, please. We're actually here kind of because of him and other people too. Nisaburo Hirano was one of the earlier immigrants to the mainland United States. He arrived in San Francisco in 1891. At the time, there were maybe 2,000 Japanese living on the mainland, anywhere in the mainland United States. But more like him were coming every year. Hirano was a devout Shin Buddhist at a time when there weren't any Shin Buddhist temples or ministers in the mainland. He lived here, not sure what he did for a living. In fact, we don't know too much about him. What we do know is that 6 years after he came to the United States, he traveled back to Japan on a trip. And while he was on this trip, he went to a special service at the Nishi Honganji, our home temple in Kyoto. Next slide, please. Here's a photo of Nishi Honganji from that period. So when he was there, it so happened that two ministers, Reverends Kakuryo Nishijima and Shoi Yamada, were kind of outside, and they were there to answer questions from people who attended the service. So Hirano, he decided, well, he wasn't going to answer questions. He was going to lobby them. He told them, basically, we need ministers in the United States. And actually, there was another immigrant who was there with him, Hidesaburo Yoshida, and he was also living in San Francisco. But so they kind of made their point. They wanted the Honganji to send ministers because people like him wanted to hear the teachings of the Buddha. The following year, 1898, the Honganji did send two ministers, Reverends Eiryu Hondo and Eijun Miyamoto, to the United States, kind of like on a fact-finding trip. They went to San Francisco. I think they went to Sacramento, Washington, and British Columbia, and they talked to Shin Buddhists there. Next slide. And so then 2 months after these two ministers came to to San Francisco, a group of 83 young Japanese immigrant Buddhists, they drafted a petition to add their voices to the call for missionaries to the United States. And their petition concluded with, quote, "Our burning desire to hear the teachings is about to explode from every pore in our bodies." It's kind of poetic. Again, our burning desire to hear the teachings is about to explode from every pore in our bodies. They would go on to form a Young Men's Buddhist Association, and then similar groups would form afterwards in other cities. Now, the year after that, after this fact-finding mission, the Honganji sent the first two missionaries to the United States. And we have the next slide. This is a photocopy of San Francisco Chronicle article about the Reverends Shuyo Sonoda and Kakuryo Nishijima after they arrived. Now, I think this is the same Reverend Nishijima who Hirano talked to outside of Kyoto, but I don't see any confirmation of that. According to what's passed down in what would become the Buddhist mission of North America, Hirano really was kind of like the starting point for sending these missionaries. And what prompted Hirano to really advocate for these missionaries? Well, he was a Shin Buddhist, but he was troubled because when he came to the United States, he wanted to take English. He wanted to learn English, so he took English classes. And where did he find these English classes? At Christian Christian Japanese churches. And what he was troubled by was that they tried to convert him, and they tried to convert other Buddhists who went to take English there. So when I talked about Hirano in January, I think, I remarked, I looked on the internet, well, I'd like to see what this guy looks like. I couldn't find any photo of him. But I mentioned that I didn't know that the BCA had archives. We're at UCLA. But here now we have a photo of Hirano. And so there's a backstory on how that happened. So we have two people to thank. And both of them happen to be at the service, but they're not members of our temple. Rich and Sam Yamashita from Culver City in Southern California. So one day, Reverend Amida Sakamoto said, hey, there's something for you. Somebody dropped by off at the church office. And it was a photo of Hirano, and left the contact information. So I reached out to people. They didn't have their names, so I reached out hoping they would respond. And Rich Yamashita, he did respond. And I'll read to you what his response to me was. He said, we live in Culver City, California, and our son Sam is a sophomore at San Jose State University. Prior to the start of the spring semester, our family drove up to San Jose State University on the weekend of January 18th. Since we were in the area, on Sunday we attended the adult morning service. We enjoyed the service and learning about how Mr. Hirano played a key role to influence the Honganji to send ministers to the mainland. At the end of the Dharma talk, I remember the shout out that it would be really nice to have a photo of him, and how it was hard to know where to find one, although the historical BCA archives were at UCLA. Since I work at UCLA, I have access to library resources and placed a request to access to BCA archives and search the records for the name Hirano. So next slide. So if you, next slide. Yeah. So this is actually a webpage from UCLA about the BCA archives, so they're like 500 boxes and cartons of documents and photos and letters and scrapbooks, all that the BCA kind of stored at UCLA. And UCLA is digitizing these and have given access to people there. So the next slide after that then. Nope, was there another one? That one, okay. So, actually, there's some of the things that they put online, including this photo, which I found was very interesting. This is the photo of the 25th anniversary of the San Jose Buddhist Church, 1927. Never seen this before. And I looked, and you actually could kind of zoom in, and you could kind of make out some of the faces. I was looking for my grandfather. My grandfather would have been here, my grandmother. My dad would have been like maybe 3 or 4, and one of my aunts would have been maybe 2 or 3. But I can't see any of them there. I'm just going to continue to look. So back to Rich Yamashita's email. I found that there were a large number of boxes that included file folders in which contents were categorized. I was able to find a folder that included a couple old photos of Nisaburo Hirano. One was a very small glossy, the other was a larger reproduction. I was not able to remove the photo from the examination room, but was able to take a photo on my iPhone, which we printed and asked Sam to deliver to you. So some background about the Yamashita family. They're members of the Senshin Temple in Los Angeles. Rich grew up in a Gardena Buddhist temple, his wife in the Buddhist temple of Chicago. Now the Buddhist temple of Chicago is not to be confused with the Midwest Buddhist temple, which is a Honganji-ha, our sect temple. The Buddhist temple of Chicago is actually independent Buddhist temple with ties to Higashi Honganji, which is kind of related sect, but different from our sect. So he goes on to say, we really appreciated the welcoming and friendly group we met when we attended service and enjoyed the coffee later. We were also happy to hear about the scouting connection, as both Sam and I are Eagle Scouts, excuse me, and Sam's younger brother is still in our troop. Sam occasionally ventures into Japantown on his bike from SJSU to shop, and we were happy to hear that he met some folks at the Betsuin when he delivered the photo. I hope this background helps on how we found our way to the San Jose Betsuin and the origination of the idea to have a copy of the copy of the photo delivered to you. We look forward to future visits and hopefully can eventually attend Obon at San Jose Betsuin. So thank you to Sam and Rich for finding the photo and Sam for delivering it. We now have a photo of Nishiboda Hirano. It's nice to see that. And don't know much more about him, although I did find that Nishiboda Hirano died on May 19th, 1936 and is buried at Cypress Lawn Memorial Park in Colma. Final slide. So this is a history lesson, so where's the Buddhist lesson to this, Dennis? Well, we talk about interdependence, right? And so I think this is an example of interdependence, really, all connections between everybody. We're interconnected to Nishiboda Hirano, but we didn't know that until recently. We're here at this moment in time, you can argue, because of him. Now, there probably would have been temples built here, but maybe not this temple in this location and this group of people here today. So everything had to happen in the way it did happen for this group of people to be here in this temple at this time. So you got to think about all of those connections that happened, those interconnections, that interdependence. So we have gratitude for all of that, right? And then sometimes we have, this is kind of strange, we have gratitude for the unknown, really, because we have gratitude for things that happened way back 120 some odd years ago that contributed to the founding of temples here in the United States, which allows us to hear the Dharma, right? So it's gratitude for all of those things that we don't even know about that contributed to us being here. And so I think it's a lesson to kind of like interdependence and gratitude. And when we say, we're all interconnected, we can see the connections that are visible to us and that we know about. But there's so many more connections that are contributed to our lives and to our being here and to our being able to enjoy hearing the teachings of the Buddha, right, and of Shinran. And just it kind of staggers your mind, right? Because you don't know about these things. We never, until a few months ago, I had no idea about who Nishiboda Hirano was. I had no idea that he on his, you go back to Japan and you probably want to visit your family and see your friends and have food that you're familiar with. But he probably did all of those, but he also was motivated to go to the Honganji, to take advantage of the opportunity to say, we need missionaries in the United States. I want to hear the teachings of the Buddha, and other people want to hear the teachings of the Buddha. I'm concerned that we have Buddhists who are here who are being, there's attempts to convert them. So again, those connections, that interdependence, that gratitude that we all have, and that we should have for people like Nishiboda Hirano. So please join me in Gassho and reciting the Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. We're kind of early. Do we have any questions about any of that? Was it clear to you? No questions? Yes?
Where was the picture taken that, like a news article or something?
Of him? I don't know. It doesn't have, I don't think it has any kind of information about that. And there might be back, in all of those boxes of material, there might be an explanation about that. So for those at home, the question was, where was that photo taken of Hirano? We don't know. We don't know so much about him.
My question really is, where was it published? Was it in the general?
I don't know. I don't know. It may not have been published anywhere. It may have just been taken for.
Like an article.
Yeah, maybe. One thing I forgot to mention too is that Hirano wasn't actually the only person who was asking for the Honganji to send missionaries. So when those two ministers came for a fact-finding tour, they talked to young Buddhists in San Francisco, and they're overwhelmingly male, right? Because there weren't many women who came because they were coming for work. And so after meeting with them, then 83 of these young Buddhists in San Francisco, they wrote a petition, which I kind of mentioned, about dying to hear the teachings of the Buddha, right? So we don't know who those 83 are. Hopefully, maybe somewhere in those archives is a list of those 83, because it'd be kind of cool to see who they were. Maybe the families of those would be kind of interested to see that. So again, people we don't know who they are, other people who contribute to us being here. So, any other questions? Okay, thank you. Thank you again. Please rise now for the singing of the Gatha Ondokusan II, which is, I forget what page it is, 76 in the small Dharma School service book. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Are there any announcements? No announcements. Do we have any guests or newcomers here? I know we have two guests. Norman and Sharon Nishi. Wave. Yeah, I happen to know him because Sharon's my cousin. And so the aunt that I mentioned who was alive at the time of that 1927 photo is her mom, Amy, my aunt. And our family actually lived around the block on 6th Street before World War II. So we were all very close by here at the temple. So welcome to Sharon and Norman. Anybody else? Somebody's pointing. Oh, I'm sorry, the glare. Can you stand? Do you want to introduce yourself? That's okay. Andrew, first time here? Welcome. Thank you for coming. If there are no further announcements, let me get up there. Hold on. We will now have closing gasho. Please join me, gasho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Please come in up to do a shoko. We have refreshments in the garden. Please join us there. Thank you all for coming. So, a multi-purpose room. Okay. One other thing. So, let's try something. Try bringing a friend or somebody who hasn't come to service in a while, or somebody who's never come to service. Let's kind of try to get more people out. So just a suggestion. Thank you very much. Sorry, I forgot to thank our organist, Michael Yoshihara, and our AV coordinator, Brandon Uenaka.